99X. We are the Morning X. It's Barnes, it's Leslie, it's Crash Clark on traffic. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to class next. Yep, this is not the College of Musical Knowledge. No, this is the Juvenile Detention Center. That's we're the lead-in to Steve's college. But we're going to take you... It's a very interesting class. It's about Atlanta history. And we'll get into it with an expert next.
Well, you know, we have a podcast. If you ever miss anything on this show, get caught up. Listen to the Morning X podcast. I mean, we talked about, you know, the drama that Crash had in Miami. We've talked about Barnes Buzz. We've talked about Barnes Tech Corner, My Celebrity Sleaze, all of our interviews. So make sure you check it out, the Morning X podcast. And there's this other killer podcast called History for Cocktail Parties. This is where two Atlanta natives bring American history to life, one compelling story and one good drink at a time. It's great, too. It gets you caught up on all sorts of history, and you can use these stories at cocktail parties.
Now, I know that's our guest coming up next, but hey, maybe next time, let's not promote our podcast and then promote to someone to listen to something else other than our podcast and
that
to listen to
better.
Another one?
Oh.
It's just an idea.
It's from James Otley and Thornton Kennedy, and James just happens to be our guest.
And I'm just kidding. Please welcome
Yes,
James Otley back to the show, who's an Atlanta attorney who is a longtime listener, right, James?
I sure am. I've been a listener and a fan since the 90s. I think I even know who still holds the record for the fish quiz.
Oh, I don't even know. Please tell us. Who does?
I think it's Coolio, right?
Coolio. Yep,
Coolio.
it's Coolio.
And he passed away, right?
Yeah.
So we can never take it away from him.
Well, James,
Right.
were we an inspiration at all for this podcast that you have?
Absolutely. I mean, and to be on with you is like I said, I kind of pinch myself. I listen to you all every morning on the drive to work as a young 20-year-old going to work. So, yeah, for sure.
Thank you for that, first of all. Now, James has been on before. Fascinating book, a cocktail party book that he's got table book. It's called what, James? The same thing as the podcast, but with the word Atlanta?
The books were Atlanta History for Cocktail Parties. So we kind of played off that with our title for our podcast, History for Cocktail Parties. Gives us a little bit broader reach. We're Southern history. We're Southern adjacent history. You know, we cover everything from true crime to the origin story of REM, to the Panama Canal. We cover it all. Anything that we think would be an interesting cocktail story, something you want to share at the bar or cocktail party.
I love your books, and your stories are great. And I didn't know you covered bands. You've got, what do you know about REM that we don't? Is there some uncovered stuff?
Absolutely incredible story, origin story of how these four guys all made it. The stars aligned, and they all made it to Athens, Georgia. Almost didn't happen.
Well, refresh my memory. So they didn't just meet in Athens innocently and start doing their thing. There was a lot of stuff that went on behind the scenes.
No, and how they got there is pretty cool. We can actually the world can thank Publishers Clearinghouse and Aerosmith for getting Michael Stipe into music when he was. He was originally living in Collinsville, Illinois. He went to high school there. His dad was a helicopter pilot in Vietnam, and after his tour of duty, they were in St. Louis, based there, and his dad got him involved with. They did Boy Scouts together, and other kind of traditional stuff like that. But Michael didn't really take to it. He hadn't really found his thing yet. But one day, his sister brought home a Publishers Clearinghouse 12 magazines for a penny deal. Do you remember those back in
I used to
the
get
90s?
them with different names. Yeah, I used to get those all the time.
Right on. And so he signs up for the Village Voice, which y'all familiar with that magazine?
Oh, yes.
New York Central. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And he would devour. He'd wait at the mailbox. He would devour. all the articles, and he kept seeing Patti Smith pop up in these articles, and he read about her. And when Horses came out, he listened. He waited, went to the record store, listened to it all night. It changed his life. It was spiritual, for him. He said that was just a watershed moment, and that's what he knew. What he wanted to do with his life. And he was in a car riding around with his friends, and they were listening to music, singing along as Aerosmith song came on. And they were all singing, but they all stopped at the end when it was, when Steven Tyler's, singing Dream On, nobody else would try it. Michael goes full falsetto, nails it, and everybody just goes silent. They're like, holy cow, you could sing. And so with a little persuasion, he joined a band. Everything was going great. And then his dad retired and decided, and I had mentioned his dad, both his dad and his mom were from Georgia. His dad was from Augusta, I believe, and his mother was from Hapeville. So they decided to move back to Georgia. We're going to live around Athens. And problem was, Michael didn't want to go. He didn't want to have a Southern accent. He didn't want to move to the South. And so they said, well, okay, you can stay here, but you got to pay your own way, find a place to live. And he actually signed up. He was going to go to college at Southern Illinois University.
So this is interesting. I didn't realize he didn't want to move to Athens or, sort of be in the South.
Same.
So I guess he decided to move, and that's when he met the other guys in the band?
Well, he had to move. He ran out of money. The deal was he could stay in Illinois only if he paid his own way. So when he ran out of money, he had to move south. And he hated it.
I never knew that whole Aerosmith story about Dream On. I never knew there was a connection to that song and him starting to sing. It seems like that would have been the same time, but I guess that was 10 or 15 years prior.
It was high school time, right around high school,
yeah.
right when he was reading the Village Voice and starting to realize what he wanted to do with his life.
Nobody does selling better than Shopify. Shopify is the home of the #1 checkout on the planet. And the not-so-secret secret, with Shop Pay that boosts conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts go abandoned and way more sales going through. So if you're into growing your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling. On the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more, sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout that Skims uses. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period for 3 months at shopify.com/Westwood1, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/Westwood1 to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/Westwood1.
The CJ Pearson Show.
I'm CJ Pearson, and I'm the host of The CJ Pearson Show. Every week, we'll take on the biggest cultural, political, and moral battles in America head on.
From a perspective you won't hear on mainstream media.
No spin, no filters, and no apologies.
Straight talk and fearless, real perspective.
Family, faith, country, bold truth, real conviction, zero permission. This is The CJ Pearson Show.
The CJ Pearson Show. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
Oh, this is so interesting. We're talking to James Otley. He's got a podcast with his friend Thornton Kennedy. It's called History for Cocktail Parties. This podcast is great, and this is kind of the birth of REM. So, okay, Michael Stipe, let's fast forward. He moves to Athens. Who's the first member of REM that he connects with?
Yeah, how does he meet him?
It's Peter Buck. And
okay.
The only reason is because Michael loved music, and he started hanging out at What Street Records, which was a record store in Athens. And as fate would have it, Peter Buck worked at that store. And they started talking, and guess what Peter Buck's favorite magazine was in high school?
So the Village Voice.
Absolutely. And guess what his favorite album was in high school?
It was Aerosmith?
No, it was Horses, Patti Smith, the same album.
I was like, based on the Aerosmith.
I know.
Yeah. And so they got to be friends and started playing music together. Pretty crazy story of how Peter Buck almost didn't make it to Athens. You want to hear how that happened?
Yeah, how's he end up? This is such a weird happenstance story for one of the best bands of our time. How it just kind of fumbles together.
So Peter Buck, he grew up in California, but his dad worked for Simmons Mattress Company, who's headquartered in Buckhead. Their headquarters was right up the street from where you all used to broadcast in the 90s.
That was the Simmons bedding headquarters?
Yeah, right in Alliance Center.
Now, there's another piece of history we didn't know about.
Damn.
Yeah, so he gets transferred. His dad gets transferred. Peter goes to Crestwood High School. They live out at Martin's Landing, right off Holcomb Ridge Road. I'm sure you know that subdivision. And so Peter gets the best SAT score in the state, goes to Emory, but he drops out. Hitchhikes to California, gets in a boarding house with hippies, and hates all of the pot smoke and the jam band music and the fact that they don't like the Sex Pistols. So he quits that. He hitchhikes back to Atlanta and rolls in Emory again. Gets tired of that, goes down the street to get a job at a record store. They don't have a place for him. They say, well, we do have one at our smaller store in Athens. Packs his bag that afternoon.
Wow.
And that's how he ends up at Watch Street Records to meet Michael Stipe.
Wow.
I have a question about the actual name, REM. So many people say that, well, Michael Stipe just found it in the dictionary, and it kind of means rapid eye movement. Then they were saying it's remember every moment. And then it was even the name of a photographer that was there shooting some of their albums. What do you say is REM? What does that stand for?
Okay, well, I'm going to go with rapid eye movement, but the story with flipping open the dictionary is the story I'm told. And the thing that really drew his attention was the fact that it had periods, meaning, it could stand for anything. So I think it's still open for interpretation. And I don't think that Michael's ever said definitively, but it's the periods that really drew him when they flipped open the dictionary.
Man, I love your stories. I've never heard any of those tidbits before, and just incredible stories. He's got a ton of these in his book. And check out the podcast, of course. Plug the podcast again. What's it called?
It's called History for Cocktail Parties. We're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts.
Yep. Awesome. And thank you for listening to our show all these years. I want to have you on more often because you have some really cool flipping stories. So thank you for sharing that.
Hey, I really appreciate it. It's great to be on. And there's other stuff with REM too.
Absolutely. That's so freaking cool. Speaking of, REM is on 99X.
It's back. Hey, it's Dan Bongino. I've got some big news for you. Starting February 2nd, the show is back. That's right. The Dan Bongino Show is relaunching, and we're going bigger than ever. Join me live on Rumble.com Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to noon Eastern. We'll cover the stories that matter, cut through all the garbage, and get to the truth. Can't catch it live? No problem. Grab the audio wherever you get your podcasts. Remember, February 2nd, the return to the Dan Bongino Show. Don't miss it.